Welcome back to Chapter 5. We are now covering human resource planning and job analysis. Being in the human resource department, we know that our very first task, very first skill is finding staffing for any organization. It's important for us to know how many employees are we looking to hire? Do we have too many? Not enough? What is our job market like? A very common tool for going about staffing issue needs is using the SWOT analysis. This is a very pen and paper process, writing down SWOT, S-W-O-T, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. And we can apply this to any staffing matrix, a very common tool. When we know that we're looking for a certain type of position, where would we go? In today's technology savvy world, we'd most likely go to the internet for different recruiting resources. Finding out what is our demand for labor, what is our labor supply. These are topics that are highlighted on page 124 and 125. We must do some forecasting so that we have the people in place in order to accomplish our company mission. If we are staffing in an elementary school, we know that prior to the beginning of the school year, we need to have at least one teacher in every classroom. So if we are working for a human resource department in a school district, what would be our steps for recruiting, hiring, retaining school teachers? Maybe we could look at a SWOT analysis and find out what are our strengths. We could be in an area that has people fresh out of credentialing school. Our weaknesses, maybe our pay isn't very strong. Do we have any opportunities? Potentially this is a newer school and it would draw other candidates in. Do we have any threats? Maybe there's a brand new school just down the street and that would also be a threat to us bringing on new teachers. So SWOT analysis tool is very handy for predicting our labor demand and our future supply of laborers. Finding out where we would hire these individuals is important. With any organization, you can find yourself either with an influx of applicable candidates or a huge deficit of candidates that would be right for the job. Page 128 starts off with the job analysis process. How would we go about finding how many teachers we actually need for our school? Down page 128, it lists different types of methods: observation methods, individual interviews, group interviews. We can go off of our own experience. We're used to having one teacher per classroom. Maybe we do some checking with the district and they say, oh, this is a new school. We now need 3 teachers per classroom. So that's something we would have potentially obtained through the interview process. And then we would go about our hiring. As we move on through the chapter, we have different types of position analysis questionnaires. There are different tools, again, different technology tools that an organization can use for their staffing matrix, for finding out what requirements are there for this position. If we are looking for an educator, then what would the job description be? That's something that we would want to highlight when we're looking and recruiting for candidates. What are the essential functions? What are the job specifications? Are there any requirements that must be met before we bring someone onto a position? If you are hiring for a position, if you just drop an ad in the newspaper looking for fry cooks at McDonald's, you would probably have hundreds of applicants. If you're looking for a rocket scientist, you'd probably have a much more limited pool of candidates. Knowing how to tailor your message is very important when we're working on staffing an organization. Listing the different requirements, the job benefits. Are there any downsides to the position? Those we want to minimize and maximize the benefits that a candidate might have for joining our organization. So navigating through the job analysis process is the remainder of Chapter 5. Don't forget to spend time doing your weekly burning questions. You have your weekly quizzes, and by now you should have done a case study and a paper, and we're moving right along. We're almost halfway there. Keep me in touch. Let me know if anything arises.